of the Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria, Lagos State Branch, and what they are intending is to ensure that everyone know what they do as surveyors so that you can make good use of this or perhaps their expertise. You're welcome. My name is Victor Oteri. All right, so today we're going to be continuing that dialogue on how to identify and perhaps appreciate the works of surveyors much better. If you've had any dealings with them before, it's your time to share that experience with us. If it was good, of course, we would love to hear it. And if you had any challenges, or perhaps had any challenge with them too, you can feel free to always connect with us. They are here to help you resolve issues that relates to the profession. And if there are some gray areas seeking for attention, they are always here every week to help resolve all of that. Getting back to the roads, we can tell you most of the areas that we're covering still very, very cool and calm. We talked about an impediment on, that's at Idiroko, to be precise, inwards Fadeyi earlier on. What's the latest with that, by the way, control room? You can keep posted on that one. But the one on Eco Bridge, that has been taken off. And so it's a much better movement at that particular location. Okay, so I have that latest message. The earlier reported impediment at Idiroko, inwards at Tony, is now off the road. It's being worked on by the mechanic. Okay, so that one is also receiving attention as well. Making that journey to the island is still looking good. The Third Mainland Bridge is looking good. Lekki Aja construction and traffic diversion begins at Lokonla and Dominion City. We have counter flow system, which is being adopted at that particular location. So slow moving traffic is being experienced from Dominion City up to Hapland, inwards Aja, while inwards Ekpe is a slow moving traffic as well from Dominion City up to Total. So you need to take note of that. Officers on ground managing the traffic situation at that particular end. Okay then, so on the benchmark this great Friday morning, we are looking at surveying activities, the ethics and quality service delivery angle. And joining me on the phone line this morning, Surveyor Agwu Ogonna Roberts is a member, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, and he is currently the Publicity Secretary, Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria, APPSN, Lagos State Branch. Surveyor Ogonna Roberts, it's nice to have you join us. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Victor. It's good to be back again.
Great. So you're not in the studio. So where are you located at the moment?
I'm in Ado-Ekiti. I'm in Ado-Ekiti now.
Far away in Ado-Ekiti.
Yes, so far away in Ado-Ekiti.
What's the weather looking like this morning?
Yes, the weather here is clear. It's clear, and we don't envisage any rains.
No rains. Okay.
Yes, no rain.
All right, so let's talk about what's been going down in the past 7 days in the world of the surveyors. How's it been for APPSN?
Oh, it's been another busy week. The past 7 days have been very busy, and we've been going about doing our bits, and then all in our plans to ensure that we deliver accurately on all contracted assignments to members of the public.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so right here in Lagos, we'll be talking about the amnesty program for completed buildings in terms of planning permits. What roles do surveyors play in all of this?
Come again, please.
I said in Lagos, we've been talking about the amnesty program for completed buildings in terms of acquiring planning permits, courtesy of the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. But is there any role that the surveyor can play in fulfilling this amnesty program?
Yes, the surveyor plays a great role or plays major roles in the amnesty program because starting from your survey documents, the land survey document, the cadastral survey plan, which clearly delineates the boundaries of your property, because the amnesty program is to take care of those who have built without proper authorization and planning permits. So you cannot even issue planning permits on a property that doesn't have a well-defined boundary. So the first input is the cadastral survey plan, where the surveyor clearly delineates the boundary of the said property under investigation.
Right.
And then considering that these buildings have already been put up and there is need for the as-built survey, so the surveyor is also in a best position to map the building and then place it accurately within that boundary of the survey. So the surveyor plays very major roles in terms of the amnesty program.
And so far so good. People really turning up to make use of the services of surveyors for this amnesty program?
Yes, people have been complying, even though the percentage is still poor, which was what I understood led to the extension of the deadline. The new deadline is now 31st of October. But I also want to encourage Lagosians to ensure that they make use of this amnesty program and ensure that all their documentations are intact. Because if you have a property and you don't have documentation on it, it's as good as not having any property. Right. And there's something we have also noticed before now. When you carry out a survey on a property that already has an existing structure, you always hear the client say, no, don't include the building. Don't include the building. But now, because of this amnesty program, even those who didn't have their cadastral survey plans prepared before now have come to accept the fact that the survey should capture everything that is existing, especially the structures that are existing on that property.
So let's look at the different kinds of surveys that one can get on a property or perhaps on a piece of land. What are the different types of survey plans that one can get?
Okay, you can get your cadastral survey plan, which is the one that shows the boundary of the property with all the details of the land, as well as the details of the surveyor who you engaged to carry out that survey. And it must be signed by a registered surveyor, and the date must correspond with the dates that you engaged the surveyor. That means the dates must not be backdated.
Okay.
Any backdated survey is a fake survey. Now, after that, you also have your topographical survey, which is the survey that shows the undulating nature of the earth surface, and architects and structural engineers make use of these plans to enable them come up with designs for the structures, because it gives them the true, expression of the topography of that piece of property.
Okay.
Then we also have an as-built survey. An as-built survey is a survey that shows everything that has been built. It is usually advised that an as-built survey should be done post-construction. Post-construction, you should carry out an as-built survey to show what has been built. And planning authorities will make use of an as-built survey in order to enforce compliance to building approvals. Because how do you know that the person has built according to design if you don't have an as-built survey? Okay. We also have what we call a detailed survey. A detailed survey is a survey that shows every feature existing within a set space. And it is also an input for planning, because if you carry out a detailed survey, for instance, of the premises of Lagos Traffic Radio, you will have an idea of everything that is existing there, from drainages to utility lines to electric poles to telecommunication masts to water boreholes, water pipelines, even down to electrical fittings, electrical and plumbing fittings, yes. And the whole essence is to enable you make proper decisions as regards planning, renovations, reconstruction, remodeling, and all that.
Right.
And then there are also some surveys that we call special purpose surveys. Those are surveys that are fit for purpose, where the client says, this is what I want to achieve, and then the surveyor advises on the type of survey to carry out. Okay,
so from what you said now, I see that most of these surveys that you've mentioned, most of these types are required. So from your assessment, yes, and from the assessment of APPSN and even the surveyor's body, the survey body in the land, do you think people take time to carry out all these surveys on one property?
Well, unfortunately, no. People, members of the public, and it's not just a thing in Lagos, it's not just in Lagos, it's a general problem we've been encountering in Nigeria, whereby people feel that once I've managed to do a cadastral survey, that's the end. They feel the structural engineer or the architects can just look at that cadastral survey plan and put up a design. But every architect or structural engineer that knows his words and that knows what he's doing will always demand for a topographical survey, especially when the land has exceeded, say, maybe 500 square meters. Because he needs to know how undulating the surface is, so that you don't just design based on assumptions that the terrain is flat. And then when you now get to construction, you now discover that you are building down a hill. And then the height difference from the beginning of the plots to the end of the plots can be as much as 5 meters or 4 meters. And if you didn't have this idea before you designed, you discover that you had designed something that is not buildable. So one of the things that a topographical survey does or helps to accomplish is to ensure buildability of designs. Yes.
Okay. All right, then. So most houses or most properties do not have all these survey types that you've mentioned. But is it necessary for me to carry out all these survey plans?
Very necessary. Very necessary. As a matter of fact, in advanced countries, part of the requirements for getting a completion certificate for your structure is that there must be an as-built survey. There must be an as-built survey plan duly certified by a registered surveyor to show the planning authority that what they gave you approval to build is what you actually built. Yes, because we've had cases where, for instance, we had one where a building, somebody was given approval for 4 floors and he went ahead to build 7 floors, and the building finally came down.
Right.
But if at the time the completion certificate was submitted, if there was an as-built survey, it will have been very clear from the word go that this person has contravened the planning approval that he was given.
Right.
Because the as-built survey seeks to capture everything that was built, the exact way it was built.
All right, so Ogonna Robots, let's talk a bit. So is it not possible for me to just have two survey plans, the cadastral survey and the as-built survey for my property, especially when you consider the fact that the as-built survey would indicate everything that's inherent in that particular compound, both the building and everything? Why do I still need to go ahead and do a topographic survey?
Hello.
All right, just a second.
Okay,
Just a second.
Hello.
Let's see if we can take this call. Hello there. Good morning.
Hello, good afternoon.
It's morning, actually.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, it's actually morning. But if you can't hear us, you might need to repeat that call. But yeah, so Agwu Robots, I was saying, why do I need so many survey plans when I can just do 2 of them?
Okay, so between the cadastral survey and the as-built survey should be the topographical survey, because the topographical survey should even be done before the building comes up. The topographical survey should be done before construction begins. The topographical survey should be done before construction begins, before design is even done, because it is the topographical survey that will inform the decision of the architects and the structural engineers in the type of designs that they are going to put up.
Right.
The type of designs that they're going to put up, yes. So it's necessary, it's a prerequisite before you even carry out your design.
All right,
so that the architect doesn't design blindly.
All right, control room. I hear you. I can see you're trying to call. You can repeat that call. I would appreciate it. Let's now talk about surveying activities and then ethics and quality service delivery that we're focusing on. So, what are the ethics that should guide?
Hello.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, control room.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
We still seem to be having some challenges with that connection. Control room, but in the event that you're not getting through, you can send in the message so that we can escalate that to our listening public. All right, so Agwu Robots, what are the ethics?
Okay, so the surveying profession is guided by a number of ethics. So many of them. We have our rule books, we have our guidelines, we have the survey laws that are enacted by the Surveyors Council of Nigeria by an act of parliament. And then we also have guidelines that are peculiar to states, and then also based on the type of surveys to be carried out. But every surveyor is well grounded in these rules and these guidelines, these existing laws, every surveyor is expected to be grounded in them because it's actually part of the requirements that you must have fulfilled before you get registered as a surveyor. So before you get registered as a surveyor, you must have written your survey laws examination, which is a compulsory course that you should write prior to your registration as a surveyor. So there are quite a number of them, and there are some that there are some that actually cover cadastral survey. There are some that cover engineering surveys. There are some that cover topographical surveys, trigonometric surveys, control extensions, and every aspect of surveying, hydrographic surveying, and all that. We have rules that cover every aspect of the survey. And part of what we seek to do in our MCPDs, in our mandatory continuous professional development programs, like the one we just recently concluded, the one we concluded on Wednesday in Lagos, our annual professional workshop with the team, the practice of cadastral surveying, understanding the technicalities, ethics, market dynamics, policies, innovations, reforms, value-added services, and the politics of cadastral surveying. So what we seek to achieve in these MCPDs is to, re-educate, reorient the practitioners on some of those things that they know that they might have forgotten over time, just to refresh their memory, because the ignorance of the law, they say, is not an excuse.
That's right.
So for us to ensure that surveyors practice ethically, we must give them every opportunity to be reminded always of the existing laws that govern the profession.
Okay.
So that when they run foul of the law, there are no excuses.
All right, then. So we'll talk a bit more about this ethics as well. But flash update coming in from the Code Bridge end. I understand there's total closure from Alaka inwards Eco Bridge, right? Total closure from Alaka inwards Eco Bridge. And I understand that all vehicles are being diverted to Alaka via the service lane, proceeding towards Ikponri to link Costain, and from there they can now connect Eco Bridge. Okay, take note of that. Total closure is being experienced right now from Alaka inwards Eco Bridge. All vehicles diverted to Alaka via the service lane, and then from there connect Ikponri to link Costain to proceed on your journey to connect to Code Bridge. I think it's not all connected with that same impediment I was talking about earlier on. But if it's something else, let me know, because the earlier report says that the trailer that broke down on the Code Bridge has been taken off the road. So what's responsible for this total closure? Is it for construction purpose? Control room, you can let me know that one as well. All right, so Ogonna, Roberts, what are some of these ethics? Can we just begin to look at them one by one?
Okay, so some of let's take, for instance, the one we always mention. I mentioned it a few minutes back, talking about backdating. Every survey that is backdated is a fake survey.
Okay.
Now, the law says that the survey plan must bear the current date that the survey was carried out. And one thing we noticed is that a lot of times you see...
Okay, Ogonna, Robert, you need to speak up a bit because your line is a bit low.
Okay. I've had instances where I got somebody who wanted to do a survey, and then he wasn't willing to pay the prescribed fees, only for him to come back later to tell me, surveyor, your fees are too expensive. I got somebody who did it for a cheaper rate. And then most of the times I'll tell them, send me the survey plan. Let me even be sure that the survey plan is genuine. And then he sends me a survey plan of a survey that was done in 2023. And I'm seeing, 2002 or 2005 as the date on the survey. And then the next thing I ask is, who signed the survey? Was it the same person you paid to? He said, no, he said it's his Ogonna that signed it. And then most times we've had instances where a survey plan, purportedly signed survey plan, was forged, and the signature of a dead surveyor was forged, and used in preparing a survey plan. I've seen a survey plan that was prepared 10 years after the surveyor whose signature appears on the survey plan died.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, so once a survey plan is backdated, it's already an act of malpractice, and that already invalidates the survey plan.
All right, then. So maximum thanks to Toby Loba from the control room. She says that the total closure is due to rehabilitation work that will be commencing very soon. All right, thank you so much for bringing that one promptly. So diversion from Alaka inwards the service lane, from there connect Costain, and from Costain to link up with a co-bridge. That's on at the moment. Rehabilitation work will soon commence within that corridor, and then we'll be able to take that to the next level. All right, then. So this program is put in place courtesy of APPSN, Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria. It's called the Benchmark, and of course, we're trying to see how we bring in place the best practices in surveying. And I have Surveyor Agwu Ogonna Roberts. He is the Publicity Secretary of APPSN Lagos State Chapter. All right, so apart from this ethics, Ogonna Roberts, before I begin to take to reactions, service delivery. What will you say about that in terms of surveying activities?
Yes, a surveyor is duty bound to his clients to deliver on all agreed deliverables within the provisions of the law. So in as much as a client has his list of expectations from the surveyor must also ensure that those deliverables are within the confines of the law, so that you don't end up satisfying your clients and running foul of the law. So, but every surveyor is duty bound. For instance, if you engage a surveyor to carry out a cadastral survey for you, the law provides that the surveyor should issue you your copies of survey plan, and then within a specific time lodge in the record copies with the Surveyor General's office of the state where the survey is domiciled.
Okay.
So if you have a surveyor who you have engaged to carry out a cadastral survey, and he has refused to lodge the record copies after you have made full payment for the survey, that surveyor is already running foul of the law. So these are part of the things that when we have clients complain about this, or I gave a surveyor a job to do, I went to Alausa to check 6 months after or 8 months after, and I discovered that he didn't lodge it. If you truly paid the prescribed fees, the surveyor has no reason not to lodge the record copies at the Surveyor General's office.
Okay, so
this is just...
Are you saying that some people do not pay the prescribed fees?
Yes, we've had instances where a client, mobilized the surveyor, even though that is actually wrong, mobilized him, and the fees he paid was less than what the mandatory payment was, and the surveyor was forced to, source the balance to complete the job, and then upon completion of the job, the client refuses to pay because he feels the surveyor has delivered. And what's the point paying him? Because we have had instances like that. And then the surveyor, because he doesn't know how else to get his money out of the client, decides not to lodge the record copies until he's paid his complete fees. So if we get that kind of reports, the first thing we'll ask the client is, did you pay the prescribed fees in full? If you paid the prescribed fees in full, and the surveyor still went ahead not to lodge your record copies, then you can bring that case up to us. We have an ethics committee, we have a monitoring and task force team that ensures that surveyors are, brought to book whenever such cases arise.
Right. Okay, then let's see if we can expand the scope to also have inputs from those who are listening to us out there. 08099120777 and of course 09153 877127. Let's talk about surveying now. If you made use of surveyors before, what has been your experience? You can share that with us this morning on the program. What did you notice, actually, if you have made use of surveyors? How was the experience? Was it good? And if it wasn't, let us know as well, okay? 08099120777 and 09153 877127. Message here coming in says, Surveyor Roberts, could you share your thoughts on how technology might help improve transparency and accountability in surveying practices in Lagos? Femi is sending that one in. So, can technology be of help?
Yes. Like we have always said, unlike many other professions, technology has not damaged the profession and has not, deprived the professional his right to earn his living. Rather, technology has enhanced the productivity of surveyors. It has also made surveying processes more efficient and less time consuming. So one of the things that technological advancement has done for surveying is that it has helped to, boost the confidence of the client in the results of the survey. For instance, where you deploy artificial intelligence or robotic technologies in carrying out a survey operation, you know that you have eliminated the issue of fatigue. For instance, where a surveyor is trying to make observations and is misreading values because he's making use of analog equipment.
Right.
He's misreading values due to fatigue. But with the advent of technology, he doesn't need to read anything by looking into a telescope.
Right.
The equipment records, and he's able to retrieve this data when he gets back to his office. So data integrity has improved.
So this, and you guys have the equipment for this, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, then. This one says, good morning, Traffic Radio. What do you think clients should look out for when choosing a surveyor to ensure that they receive ethics and high-quality service delivery? Thanks. Kemi is sending that one in from Ikorodu. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Okay, it appears we're still having a challenge with that line. Okay, so Kemi is asking, says, what do you think clients should look out for when choosing a surveyor to ensure they receive ethical and high-quality service?
Okay, I will advise every client who is engaging a surveyor to meet with the surveyor in his office. Now, when you walk into the surveyor's office, you can tell if he's actually the surveyor in that office. Because part of the guidelines that guides the practice for private practitioners is that you must, in your office, have your certificate of incorporation. So every surveyor is expected to practice as a corporate entity. So you must have the certificate of incorporation or certificate of registration of your business boldly displayed on the wall of your office. You must have your certificate of registration with the Surveyors Council of Nigeria boldly displayed in your office. You must have your membership certificate of the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors boldly displayed in your office.
Okay.
And then you must also have your certificate of practice for that year, because the Surveyors Council of Nigeria issues yearly certificates of practice. So that surveyor must be authorized to practice for that year. So in his office, you should look out for his certificate to practice that year, the certificate that authorizes him to practice for that year.
Okay.
But over time, we've had cases where clients will want to meet with the surveyor on site because the client feels, I don't have time to start chasing you around coming to your office. But if you're going to part with millions of naira, you should at least know the office of the person you are going to commit these resources to. So that you don't just tell the surveyor, okay, come and meet me in my house, I'll take you to the site. No, meet with the surveyor in your house, in his office. If you feel you don't have the time, then you should be able to delegate somebody you trust to meet with the surveyor in his office.
Okay,
and then every surveyor is expected to also have members of staff. So surveyors don't just operate in isolation. You should have every registered survey office must have specified number of staff, specified equipment, and then there's the specified layouts that the office must have before that office is approved for practice.
Okay, then. All right. So we're still expecting you to share some testimonies with us. 080-99-120-777 and of course 09153-877127. If you had any dealings with surveyors before, how was the service that was rendered? This one says, hello, Traffic Radio. Surveyor Roberts, in your opinion, how do you see the role of surveyors expanding? Surveyors. Okay, no. It said, how do you see the role of surveyors? Okay, I'm trying to get this now. Mega city. Okay, so it says, in your opinion, how do you see the role of surveyors expanding as Lagos continues to grow as a mega city? Sheun Ibrahim is sending that one. Okay, I think he's talking about Lagos expanding and, of course, the role of surveyors in its expansion.
Yes. Okay, so Lagos is expanding in two dimensions. Lagos is expanding horizontally and also expanding vertically. And I will explain. Lagos is expanding horizontally in the sense that more new towns are being opened up. New territories are being made more habitable. water bodies are being reclaimed and all that, so to make for habitation. So surveyors also play major roles in that phase of expansion. Lagos is also expanding vertically in the sense that we are having a lot of high-rise buildings coming up. And for instance, if you have a 10-story building that is a residential building that has residential apartments, and these apartments have been bought by subscribers, every individual property owner on that building is expected to have his own peculiar survey plan. So the type of survey we carry out in that scenario is what we call strata survey, or the multi-level cadastral, whereby we are able to differentiate the person on first floor flat 1 from the person on second floor flat 2, and all that. You have unique identifiers that distinguish these properties from each other. So surveyors will always remain relevant even with the expansion that is happening in Lagos.
All right. Comrade Daniel is sending in a question here. Comrade Daniel says, good morning, Victor and your guest. Kindly ask your guest if a surveyor is required to take up a professional indemnity insurance.
Yes, every surveyor is expected to take up professional indemnity insurance, because what does professional indemnity insurance seek to address? For instance, a surveyor has been mobilized for a job, and then in the course of him working, something happens, maybe an act of God or something happens that requires him making refunds to the client, or, so the insurance company is expected to come in and take over that responsibility. All right. So every surveyor, and not just surveyors, every professional is expected
must have insurance. Comrade Daniel, I was expecting you to share your experience with us. If you've had any experience with a surveyor before, I would have wanted you to share that with us. This one says, good morning, Victor and Surveyor Robert. Can you tell us how the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors ensures that its members adhere to ethical standards? Okay, another one here says, my name is Chioma from Lekki. It says, what measures are in place to protect clients from fraudulent surveying practices? And the last one here says, Surveyor Roberts, how does APPSN assist clients in resolving disputes with surveyors? This one is coming from Dumola. Dumola is sending that one in. All right, so all these questions are to gradually round off now. Surveyor Roberts, what's your response to them?
Okay, so the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, through its ethics committee, is charged with the responsibility of seeing to issues that border on ethical malpractices, malpractices that border on ethics. So the ethics committee sees to that, and whenever a surveyor is accused of any unethical practice, he is summoned before the ethics committee, and investigations are carried out. If he is found guilty, the ethics committee now refers that surveyor to the second state committee on ethics. The second state committee on ethics is domiciled in all the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Now, the second state committee of ethics now carries out another layer of investigation. If the surveyor is found guilty, the second state committee.
Right. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Oh. All right. We lost that one. Even as we are gradually winding to the end of the program. Hello.
It's 10:57.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So quickly,
Yes.
as we gradually round off the program this morning, what's your message to our people really, especially as it relates to relating with surveyors and them adhering to standards and the ethics?
Okay, so I will say that whenever a member of the public or a client feels he has been, mistreated or cheated.
Okay, just a second. Let's take this call. Comrade Daniel, quickly, in 30 seconds.
Yeah, you said I should share my experience with a surveyor. Actually, I had an experience with a surveyor.
Okay.
And who did the survey of my property, who surveyed my property.
Right.
What I discovered that he produced that survey plan on the 2A sheet of paper.
Okay.
I later discovered, when I've been listening to this program, that he didn't stamp that survey plan, because it was my architect that introduced the surveyor to me.
Okay.
And that is it. And I suspect that maybe that surveyor plan is a fake one, and that was done some years back.
Wow.
So how do I go about it, Engineer Roberts?
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to link you up with Surveyor Roberts after the program, and they'll be able to take you through, okay?
All right, sir. Okay, thank you very much, Victor.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Daniel, one of our very ardent listeners. Even as we round off 30 seconds, Ogonna Roberts, I'll be connecting you with Comrade Daniel. He says the survey plan he has from his surveyor must have been a fake one, so maybe you'll be able to help him resolve that. But in rounding off, what's your message to the public?
Yes, whenever you have any issues with your surveyor, please feel free to contact us at the Nigerian Institute of Surveyors building. Ask to speak with the administrative secretary of the Association of Private Practicing Surveyors. And then our secretariat is located on Asbifi Road, just adjacent Elephant House. That's the revenue house now. In Alausa CBD.
Okay.
Alausa.
All right.
Feel free to walk in and then lay your complaints, and we will take it up from there.
All right, then we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for connecting with us this morning, and I hope you have a good stay in Ado-Ekiti.
Yes, I will.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
And that's how far we go on the benchmark this beautiful Friday morning. The